I'm a big Elon Musk fan and a Tesla bull in the long run. However, right now it seems like Tesla stock is not looking good, maybe headed towards a crash. If we go ahead and rewind back to 2022, when September rolled around, Tesla took one of those massive death falls, going from like 315 bucks all the way down to about 100 bucks. That's like a 66% fall, which is insane if you think about how big Tesla's market cap is. So it's kind of acting like a cryptocurrency. Fell mainly due to Elon Musk selling a lot of his shares. Since January, Tesla stock has outperformed almost every other stock, almost doubling its price from $100 all the way up to 215 bucks. It's like a 100% jump right there with very little pullback. And in the past couple weeks, Tesla stocks has been hovering at around that $200 range, more or less. Let's go ahead and take a look at where one of our favorite traders, Gareth Soloway, thinks Tesla is headed.
Lastly, Tesla, guys, 100% run, trading basically flat to negative this morning as the markets are down. The key on this is that you ran into all this resistance right here.
So if I go ahead and pull up Tesla's chart here, you guys can see I did map out some things of what I'm seeing Tesla's chart is doing. So I do want to go over that with you guys later in the video, but for now, essentially what Gareth is saying is that Tesla is hovering at around this $200 mark as resistance. And if I go ahead and draw a line here, we can see the reason why. So back in October of 2022, we can see that when Tesla fell, it actually bounced on this $200 mark quite a bit before actually breaking down to its lows. If we go ahead and pull it back to May of 2022, we can see almost the same thing happening right there. And if I go ahead and pull it all the way back to this point in 2020, we can see that when Tesla shot off, it actually hovered at around this $200 mark before shooting all the way up. And then we can just see it's like a magnet when it comes to this line. It just like stays there. And so now that we're at this $200 mark at the moment, this line has acted as some major resistance. So if Tesla were to break this resistance point, it could be quite bullish for Tesla. So let's go ahead and hear if that's even likely from Gareth.
Tesla stock is going to correct here, guys. It's going to come down. There's a small chance it could get as high as 220, but that's not a very big move percentage-wise. Again, Tesla to me is a dead-on short.
So you heard it from Gareth. He doesn't think that Tesla is going to truly break out of that $200 point of resistance. There could be a chance that Tesla reaches about 220 bucks, which is not that far from where we're at the moment. And this could likely be due to the weakening of the dollar or the DXY going down in the short run, which could lead to a little bit of a bounce for Tesla or indices as a whole. But in general, he thinks that Tesla is headed back down. He says it's a dead on short. So the big question is, if Gareth thinks that Tesla is headed back down, what price will that actually be?
But ultimately, when it pulls back, there's a gap fill right here at around 140. That's your target price on a downward move.
So Gareth thinks that Tesla's headed back down to around that $140 range, mainly to fill in this gap that we see happening in January of 2023. And that's kind of what I'm seeing too when I chart out what's going on with Tesla's stock. And so Tesla tends to really do a good job at filling in these gaps. Now I think that Gareth thinks that they fill them in perfectly horizontally, whereas I tend to chart it where they fill them in at these parallel diagonal lines. So if we go ahead and take a look at history, we can see Tesla does a major gap up right here in October of 2021, where if we go ahead and follow that channel back, we can see that Tesla goes ahead and fills in that gap here and all across here. Right over here in this area in March of 2022, we see that Tesla does a gap up. And as we travel the channel back forward, we can see that Tesla fills in that gap there and fills it all in really well over here. There's a little bit of a gap right here in July of 2022. And of course, we can see as we follow this channel back, Tesla fills in that gap really well here and here. In the more recent history, Tesla does a gap down in October of 2022, which if we travel it back, that's where we're at the moment, around that $200 range. And we could see when Tesla did its death fall, it does a really good bounce up, filling in that gap, which just shows how well Tesla fills in these gaps. So now with this gap right here that happened in January, it is likely for Tesla to fall back down sometime in the future, filling in the gap. And of course, this is a downward sloping channel, and so it really just depends on how long it takes Tesla to fall and fill in this gap, because if it takes a lot longer, it is likely for Tesla to fall even below $140. So if Tesla ends up going sideways and then falling in the middle of 2023, Tesla could hover at around back to where it was, or even below that if the economy starts to get worse. But of course, we also have to consider the bull case, which is Tesla just keeps on going up. So maybe they just continue to break those all-time highs. But if you really think about it, just ask yourself, does that seem likely? I mean, Tesla already has made a major pump since January, over 100%. How much more does it actually have to continue on up? And if you think about it, you know, with the economic climate, it doesn't look good. The Fed is raising interest rates, making money more expensive to borrow. This leading to companies not making as much money as they used to. They might consider laying off more people, which is very likely. And then, of course, that leads to a major recession that hits later on in the year. People don't have their income, they're not making money, and so they're not gonna be immediately thinking, hey, I need to upgrade my car to that brand new luxury electric car, right? It's just very logical if you think about it in that way. And so this is more of the economic climate, but what does Gareth Soloway think about just what is going on with Tesla itself that might be leading their stock downwards?
Elon Musk is a visionary. There's nothing to take away from him in that respect, but we've seen self-driving having issues. We've seen the fact that 99% of all revenue from Tesla is from car sales, which makes them a car company, which then you have to value them on the same levels as a Ford and a GM and some of these other ones. Competition is here. Their valuation has to come in. As much as people love them, it's got to come in. So again, I think on any pops, I'm going to be looking to continue to look to short this with a target probably downside of 144 right now, maybe even lower.
So I do agree with Gareth. I'm seeing the same thing on the charts. I think Tesla's headed back down to sub 140, and it's looking very likely that that's to happen. You can't just keep pumping up after a 100% rally. You know, the party has to end at some point, and so it's just not looking good. If Tesla does continue to pump up, I mean, if you buy in now, you're essentially taking a major risk. You're chasing a pump, right? The best is to just buy low and sell high. That's the name of the game. I think that Tesla has a bright future. Tesla is going to continue to go up, especially if you have like a 3 to 5 year investing horizon line. You know, Tesla is going to be way higher than it is at the moment. So how I like to think of this is it might be a great opportunity to buy in Tesla at some cheap prices. If you miss buying Tesla when it was at its lows in December and early January, now might be the time and another opportunity to do so. So that's what I'm doing. I'm preparing for that moment if it does happen. All right, guys, that is about it for the video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. I'm really trying hard to get this channel monetized. I need about 1,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for your subscription. All right, guys, that's about it for the video. My name is Jimmy Invest, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.